Hey, how's it going, everybody? We are back with another video, and today we're continuing on with the part 2 of the cast, talking about what they do, should you play them, how strong they are, including 2B now, so we have an extra character to talk about. So I'm going to try to speed this up versus the first one, which was quite long. So yeah, I'm going to be a little bit quicker on each character to try to make them as even as possible on the time length. Alright, let's go. Starting with Djeeta. So Djeeta, also a very basic character, similar to Gran or Katalina, but she has a couple things that make her quite a bit strong, or not even quite, like, well, yeah, quite stronger than Gran or Katalina. So the main thing she has, right, is she has a charged fireball, which is nice. Her buttons are a little bit farther than Gran's, but she does not have a plus medium attack like Gran does. But her buttons go pretty far. Her 5U is kind of useless, but her main thing is her 5L is really good, and she has a Rekka, which is 5 hits on the EX version, which is incredibly strong. You can go corner to corner into back combo damage. She's really good at that, and her ultimates are way better than Gran. But yeah, corner to corner carry, insanely powerful. Her ults are really strong. She has an ult fireball that's really plus, that gets you a combo. It is +5 on block, which is crazy. And her ultimate Rekka, which is safe, is also an incredibly good whip punish tool. If you get hit in the corner, you take a lot of damage, right? If I do the combo. Yeah, that's not exactly the combo, but it does a lot of... there's a lot of damage to be going around with this character. And she has a level 1 that is really good at getting through fireballs. And has a long like animation window. Like the activation for to get it is you can go pretty far. Not that far. Just about like round start distance. Yeah. Yeah, very solid character. Much stronger than Gran or Katalina. Probably not as strong as someone like Blah, which we'll talk about soon. But yeah, she has everything you really need in a character. If you like a real basic but strong character, which is kind of like my type, you would definitely like playing her. Like I mentioned, really good buttons, really good corner carry, good damage, good fireball. Yeah, everything you need to kind of just play a real basic, solid game plan and just, you know, decent offense, good 5L. So yeah, she has everything you need. I would definitely put her in A tier, like close S, like A+. Super solid character. All right, next up is Charlotta. So Charlotta is a gorilla style character, super offensive. Sorry, kind of in a similar way to characters like E Honda in Street Fighter. So she is a charge character if you want to get the technical inputs, but obviously in this game you could avoid that if you play charge characters by just pressing these simple commands. But she was traditionally a charge character, so she kind of has like a headbutt style, a like flash kick style, kind of like Guile in Street Fighter as well. But yeah, super heavy rushdown character. She also has a sort of like demon flip style move, so she's kind of like a mix of a lot of Street Fighter characters in a way, which is kind of funny. Her main thing is this move, this kind of like 100-hand slap style move. Her medium one is +1. Her regular one is not plus, and then her EX one is also plus. So she is... This is like her main way to get offense by doing these moves and having plus frames. But overall, she's like... Her buttons are not the greatest range. Her 5H is pretty strong. She does she can charge it, which gives her a lot of range to it. She has a kind of slide style sweep. And a big thing is her jump arc is really shallow. Like, she doesn't really go that far. But it's really fast, so sometimes it is difficult to anti-air her. So yeah, you want to keep that in mind if you are fighting her. But that is to her advantage. Unfortunately, she doesn't have any move to kind of change her air trajectory, which I thought would be pretty nice for her. Even her super jump doesn't go very far compared to someone like most of the cast, basically. But yeah, her buttons are not super strong, but she's like very offensive. Her main thing is is like she kind of basically wants you in the corner in order to get any sort of crazy damage. And her supers are pretty solid. Her level 2 super is like really big. So especially that startup animation where she throws her sword in the air, you're basically, it's almost like impossible to jump over her. So if you're jumping and she does that move, it's basically a guaranteed hit, especially as an anti-air. And of course, she's invincible. So it used to be safe in the old game, like OG. They might have nerfed it before, but or after the fact. But yeah, super offensive character. She utilizes her swipe move in order to get more plus frames, and she basically wants you in the corner to get any sort of real meaningful damage. Overall, she's like okay, not super strong. There are definitely some strong players that use her, but overall, I wouldn't say she's a particularly strong character. Not terribly weak. I would say about like B tier. So if you like a really fast or very, very, very aggressive character, there's a couple of them in this game, but Charlotta is definitely one of them. All right, next up we have Ferry, which is quite a departure from the rushdown. She is a similar style to Dalton, long normals, whip attack that beats fireballs, or excuse me, it clashes with fireballs. It used to be fireballs. I think her ultimate one does though. But yeah, she is a zoner style character. She does have some interesting stuff for offense. She has a, if I remember how to do it, this little, I don't know if it's a cat or what, but it's called GG. That does give you lockdown, and you can create some sort of mix-up potential from that. Other big thing, she has a +3 heavy attack, which is very unique to the game. But her jab is a 6-frame startup, so slow jab, really slow, far 5L, but it does go really far. And her sweep is also pretty good. Not as strong as it used to be, but still pretty solid button. But yeah, big buttons, right? Her anti-air also is kind of weak because it is blockable. But she does have a DP style attack, which is nice. But overall, she's just kind of zoning you out and trying to get some sort of solid hit in order to call her pet to get some sort of mix-ups. So she used to be a lot stronger at it because she had more knockdown potential. But overall, it's not terrible for her. She can still do some pretty obnoxious stuff. Obviously, I don't play the character, so I don't know. But and her dive kick can be made safe if you space it out properly. I should set them the blocks, you can see if I can do it correctly. Yeah, see, you can make a plus. You can make a plus if you space her out properly. It's a little tricky, but yeah, up to +3. So she does have some offensive capability, but obviously she is mainly zoner with these kind of buttons, very slow but very big. Overall, she's pretty weak though in this game. I would say it's not looking good for her. The big thing is that she has obviously she has a 6XL, but the big thing is she can't get any hit if she's too far. Obviously, she gets her close, but if she's not in range for an auto combo, she literally cannot confirm into her 6XL. So doing 6XL with her is probably the weakest in the game, which is very bad to have in the game. Obviously, her crouch jab does work too, but if you're in range for crouch jab, you are in range for auto combo, so there's basically no point in doing the crouch jab. But yeah, very, very weak offensively, and her zoning overall is decent, but the big thing is because her buttons are so slow, it makes it very difficult to mash as well. So characters with really high offense potential, or characters that have like really good damage, especially mid-screen, like Nier or Belial or a couple other characters, really bully her. So honestly, she's pretty weak in this version. I would easily put her in C tier. She's definitely missing some big, like her damage is weak, and she's missing some big like universal offensive options that I feel like is definitely desperately needed for her. But yeah, as of right now, as the game stands, definitely quite weak. I would definitely say C tier. But if you like zoners, I'll definitely try picking her up. There's a couple of zoners, but I would say she's definitely one of the weaker ones in the game. All right, next up is Anila. She's a tough character to raid, but we'll talk about what she does. She has these sheep style attacks, which are quite obnoxious, very slow fireballs. She has faster ones as well. But yeah, she's very fireball dependent. She also has a reversal, which is meterless or invincible, which is nice to have. And she has these sheeps that she's all about sheeps basically. But she can hop on them and then release them too. So she has a lot of projectile game. Her normals overall are also pretty solid. She has a pretty long range medium attack. Her heavies about average. It's a little slow though. Ooh. I killed Gran. Sorry, I have a... Let me turn that off, actually. There we go. Yeah, so... she has a heavy attack, a little bit slow. But her jabs are really good, too. She's just really far 5L, which is nice to have in this game. 6L is pretty normal. Her crouch tube is also really far. It's the farthest in the game. It's obviously special cancelable, too. So, yeah, her normals are very strong. And she has a good fireball game. Her main fireball game is this one, her ultimate sheep, which you can throw out. The really plus you can run up and do stuff with it. So, and she gets a combo from it too, because the hit on them is pretty long. She has an ultimate sheep, which is nice to have. You can get a combo from it too if you're close enough. But yeah, she's an interesting character. Her offense overall isn't super great. She also has this hop attack that allows her to swap sides. You can stay in front as well too. Her EX1 is obviously a lot faster. Yeah, she's an interesting character. So overall, she's decent. Her big thing is her offense isn't super great. Even though she has these moves like this, she can't really make the most of it on block. Like I mentioned, her offense super linear overall. Nothing super tricky besides obviously strike throw, and but she does have really good jabs. Even from like max distance, this will reach and get you obviously full combo. But she's pretty decent. Honestly, I would rate her higher than most people. But she's a pretty polarizing character, and most people don't know really where to put her overall. Honestly, I think she's pretty decent. Nothing like super extraordinary, but in my opinion, I would probably put her A. Her buns are really good. She has a solid, like just solid normals overall, and then you know, just really good fireball game. Even though her pressure isn't the best, she does have a reversal that's meterless, which is nice to have, because if you know, they are sometimes faster. Hers isn't the case, but just having a meterless reversal is nice to have. And of course, she has obviously meter ones that are a lot faster, like her ult. Her ult one's the fastest at 8 frames. Yeah, overall, I think she's pretty good. Honestly, I don't. She doesn't have that many like super like blatant flaws about her. But nothing like super extraordinary about her either. So I would probably put her very, very low A, but honestly I would put her A tier overall. But yeah, if you like characters like, you know, simple, you like her aesthetic, and obviously if you like having a pretty good fireball game, having something to kind of like run behind in order to get pressure, you probably will like her quite a bit. Alright, next up is Grimnir. So Grimnir is the speedy, I guess not like particularly speedy in like his regular movement, but he does have things that make him quite fast. And his normals are quite interesting. So we'll talk about his normals real quick. He has a standing low, which is very nice from his 5L. 5L pretty standard. His 5M is very long range for a 5M. Like much longer than Gran's. His 5H is also really weird. He has a 2-hitting 5H. So that's not his close 5H. That's his far 5H, right? Close 5H is this, right? So 2-hitting 5H. He has a slide for a sweep. This is not his 6XM. He has 6XM as well, but his is an overhead. The other thing too is it's not a knockdown from max. This is just kind of funny. Like so yeah, his normals are very strange. He has a 2H that's not the best, but it hits so high into the air. It's hard to cross him up, but the range on it is very short. Like you have to be incredibly close or have some sort of extending hurt box. So a lot of time just jumping in on him and not pressing a button will cause his attack to whiff quite a bit. So if you are fighting him, I would definitely suggest just doing like empty jump ins. Also, his jump's really floaty as well. His jump's a lot more floaty than some other characters. He does have ways to change trajectory, which we'll talk about in a second. But, you know, has a fireball game that can actually stop in between. Or go really fast as well. His fireball game is very interesting. He has some decent pressure with it. His other thing is he sigils, right? So his sigils allow him to like travel through. So if you're holding, depending on what direction you hold, is the direction he'll go, which allows him to do some pretty tricky things. The other big thing too is these are also plus. If he travels through them, they're essentially like really powerful 6XLs. Like they're like super buff 6XLs. So he is plus. He's not super close for a throw, but any sort of walk up will do. So he obviously can set these up in the air as well. And the big one is his ult, or his not his ultimate one, but his EX one. This allows him to do really obnoxious things, like go across the screen. He can diagonal downwards. He's quite a tricky character, and obviously even the air ones are plus as well. So very interesting character. He also has a reversal, which is not invincible until his ultimate one. So he only has the ultimate invincible reversal, or super, obviously. So he has no meterless reversal option at all. So he has to spend bar in order to get a reversal, which is quite bad. But you know, he has decent. He has a 5-frame normal, so his mash out's not terrible. Yeah, overall, I think he's also pretty decent. He's also a character some people might rate lower than me personally. Overall, I think he's an A character. I think he has a lot of tricky stuff to use. His skill ceiling is quite high. But to give you any indication, if you know anything about fighting games, Kazunoko plays this character, and Kazunoko is not one to be playing, or I guess maining characters that are weak. So if he is playing him, this character is definitely not bad. So overall, honestly, I would probably give him an A tier. A lot of tricky mix-ups, a lot of ways to kind of bait throw. He has a pretty decent fireball game. The only thing is his buttons are a little weird, so I'll definitely keep in mind with that. But he does have some good ones overall, just a little bit unorthodox on his button attacks. But yeah, overall, solid character. All right, next up is Metera. So Metera is the other zoner style character in the game, with also slightly better offense. So, so our main thing is these obviously arrows, which she can do quickly or slow. She's kind of similar to Sagat if you ever see him in Street Fighter. He's in Street Fighter 5 and 4. She has a high arrow and she has a low arrow. They're not high and low, but they obviously like, you know, you get the idea, right? So, and she also has this butterfly. So this butterfly, if you trigger with the arrow, it explodes, which is obviously very good for her pressure game. The other big thing is she has this in a normal. So combining with the butterfly and the normal arrow allows her to cancel into her hop, which is how she gets offense. So she has a hop attack, which she can go back and forth with. She can do double forward, double back, or back forward, forward back. She can do a bunch of tricky stuff. She also has in the air, but if she does in the air, she only gets it once. Whether if you do it on the ground, she gets it twice. So keep that in mind. She has a very long slide as her sweep. Her buttons overall are decent. Not crazy strong overall. You're not really like playing pussies with this character. She is very much a zoner style character. But in this game, she does come with a reversal, which wasn't the case in the last game. So it definitely makes her defense slightly better. Overall, not the best defense though, but she has a 6-frame normal, no 5-framer, and her only reversals require meter, similar to the last character we talked about. So yeah, very much a zoner style character with some mix-up potential as well. Overall, if you're looking between like her or Ferry, she'd definitely be a better character. There are people that play her that are very strong and also win with her. So if you're looking for a character that's like not super top tier, but like winnable. Like you could win tournaments with this character. This character is definitely a lot more potential to win stuff versus someone like Ferry. So definitely a much stronger zoner style character than Ferry. And she also does a far-reaching low attack in her 5L, which is quite nice. But yeah, overall, big zoner with some mix of potential. Not too much to say about her. She's not particularly strong, I would say. I would probably put her in the B tier. Nothing like super extraordinary, but she is quite obnoxious. The only thing is some characters really beat her badly. She definitely has that zoner style, I guess that zoner problem where certain characters just really beat her up pretty badly. But definitely much better than Ferry. I would say definitely one of the better zoners in the game. So if you like zoners with a little bit of offense, I would definitely pick her up. She's definitely quite fun. She has a lot of cool mix-ups, cool combos. Yeah, so definitely and good movement as well, obviously. All right, next up is Lowain, who is an incredibly interesting character in this game. No one quite like Lowain. So if you're interested in playing this character, you are a unique individual. There's a lot to talk about this character just because he's so unique. So first of all, he doesn't have a backdash; he has a run back. So you can't infinitely run backwards, but obviously this is much farther than any backdash in the game. His number one is also pretty far. He has a really far 5M. His 5M is incredibly good. It is his main poke tool in neutral. He also has a slide that is his sweep. His 2M is obviously way worse range than his 5M. His 5H also is quite short range. His jab is okay. It's decent. His crouch jab is also pretty decent. But yeah, his 5M is his main fuzzy tool. On top of it, one of his specials, which is this one, which leaves him between like obviously punishable to like all the way up until I think plus, possibly. If I can make it, I'm not sure. I think he can be plus, like at least +1, I think. But it's pretty hard to space out. Obviously, you're not going to go for that too often. And also, he calls the bros. He has 2 sidekicks. And his EX1 obviously calls both of them, which is nice. He also has his 5U, which is very unique. He can either restore health or gain meter by pressing it. So this move in particular makes certain matchups for him very advantageous, which is kind of like weird. Like for example, he beats the best character in the game, arguably, with Nier, which most characters don't do that. And I wouldn't call him Lowain particularly powerful. He's pretty decent, but definitely nowhere near the level of power as Nier. But some people will say he actually has a pretty advantageous matchup against her, which is quite funny. Overall, he's very unique in his own way. He has like some decent mix-ups at play. He has this really far attack that gives you... It's basically his combo starter. It also is pressure as well. So, or his combo extender, excuse me. And he also has Katalina bot, which he could summon to give her a very powerful high priority projectile beam. He is summoning a lot of things. He's summoning the bros. He's summoning Katalina bot. His pressure isn't particularly good, even though he does have these things. He kind of wants to set them up before he does anything. He has he has really interesting ult attacks as well. So yeah, he's quite the goofball. But the big thing about him is his super. So he has human pyramid attack, which is it does go down over time. I have it set to ultimate or unlimited, so keep that in mind. It does go over time does go down. But he has a bunch of different follow-ups. He has an overhead version and he has a low. So and this has super armor on it and it goes really fast. So overall, you have to basically react to what he does, because he can hit you with the low or the overhead. I've talked about this in a video before about his supers, how to beat them. So I won't go over it now, but yeah, he has 2 supers and he also has the ultimate, or the level 2, excuse me, which is calling Yggdrasil. And similar thing, you're basically trying to react to him. So he has a unblockable lava. He has a lightning that does a lot of chip damage that pulls you in. He has like a fireball. He has rocks. So yeah, both his level 1 and his level 2 are supers that you kind of just have to react to in order to get through them. So that's like his main game plan, is basically trying to build up meter by calling out people and getting as much damage as he can, and then obviously doing level 1 or level 2. That's basically his game plan overall. But yeah, super unique character. If you want to play Lowain, you know, if you're interested in this character, most likely you're just gonna play this character because nobody plays like him. He is incredibly unique to the game. But yeah, super cool character. If you like I guess not gimmicky, but really weird, wacky characters, and you like the idea of having supers that kind of play the game for you, or like, or in a way a win condition, I'll definitely think about picking up Lowain. All right, next up is Katalina. So Katalina is the opposite side for, or not opposite side, but I guess the other Shoto style character in the game. So the big thing is she does have a lot of damage, like Gran, but in exchange, her buttons are much better than Gran's, but her offense and her defense is much weaker. So that's kind of like her general idea of her. So yeah, her buttons are really good. You know, far 5L, far 5M. Her 2M's really good. Her 5H is really good. She has a shield, an armor move, which has a follow-up on hit or on block that she can backdash out of. She does have a meterless reversal, which is nice at 9 frames. It's pretty quick. She has a fireball game, which is nice, and she has a lariat style move, which is very unsafe if you don't space it out pretty well. So yeah, it is incredibly unsafe if you don't space it. But yeah, good to you. Her jump attacks are pretty solid. Overall, buttons are really good. Damage is really high, like I mentioned. But yeah, her crouch jab is really short. And she does have a 5-frame normal, but yeah, crouch jab really bad. But I mean, actually, I will scratch that, because she does have a meterless reversal that's 9 frames. Her defense isn't terrible. Her main thing is her offense potential. Her offense potential is pretty weak because she does have a low jab. Her that is a low. It's just the range is really short. Her offense is much weaker than Gran. She doesn't have a plus normal, and her 2M is -5, which is punishable by jabs. So you do have to be careful with that as well. Same thing with her far 5M, which is -6. So yeah, better neutral, but yeah, offense-wise, much weaker. So her strike throw game is pretty weak, just because she can't really threaten too much with her low attack, and her 2M is not low. She does have a sweep that's a low, obviously, but for pressure-wise, you're probably not gonna be doing that too much. Her main thing is just kind of beating you up in neutral, and then getting that fat hit into Rapier, into like blah blah super. So that's like our main game plan. Plays a much slower than Gran. So if you want to play her, which honestly I would recommend Djeeta or Belial over her as like the 4 Shotos in the game. But if you do like playing her, or if you like playing a lot slower, having more of a footsie style game, like more neutral, and then getting that fat hit into damage, she might be your girl. But honestly, overall, I would just play Djeeta, to be honest, if you want that. Djeeta kind of does a similar thing to her, but better pressure, better offense, and better quarter carry too. So, but if you want to play her, she's there. I'd probably put her in B tier. Not particularly strong in most regards, besides her buttons. She was much stronger in OG Granblue, but as she stands right now, not the best, but not terrible. Definitely not super weak. All right, next up is Vira. So Vira is a character with a lot of defensive options and really good buttons. So that's like basically her design. She has a really far 5M. Like, this is probably one of the farthest 5Ms in the game. That is also quite fast at 9 frames. Her 2M is obviously not as far, but, you know, still pretty decent. Her 5H is decent enough. But yeah, her 5M is insane. Her sweep is also really good. She ducks really low to the ground, very low profile. Her 6XM or 6XL is pretty decent. Her 6XM is also quite far. If I can get the range right. There we go. Yeah. But what is her main thing? Her main thing is actually she has a command throw style special. Or not even special, it's actually her 5U. Her 5U is her command throw. And she transforms it into this beautiful armor, which gives her some unique actions, which is... It gives her this air dash, which is very tricky. And she has a meterless reversal, which is safe if you don't punish it properly. On top of that, she does have a super that does go into this as well, that she gets a full combo off of as well. And obviously, invincible. So, overall, really good defensive options. With her super, her meterless reversal. Even without the armor, she already has a meterless reversal. It's 9-frame startup, which is, of course, super nice to have in the game. But her main thing is obviously setting up her command throw. Her command throw is pretty weak, I'm not gonna lie. It's very reactable at 30 frames. And she has a very unique running animation to it. Like, because she had, like, it's the same as her actual run. But when it's very easy to tell in game that she's gonna do it. You have to be pretty tricky in order to set it up, especially for people that have fought Vira quite a bit. It's not easy to get that command throw off. Most of the time, you're getting this armor off of doing the super. That is the main way you're going to get the armor to come out. You can just pop it in neutral as well. She recovers at -32, which is quite fast. If some character is full screen, there basically is no way for them to punish you. But there's not that much to talk about her, to be honest. She's just like good buttons, good reversals, wants that armor so she can do really obnoxious things, like have a meter's reversal. Also, she has this also gets buffed, which it tracks much better. She just gets better overall. Like her normals don't get better, but her specials get better. She also has this one, gives you knockdown as well. It's like basically instant. So her familiar is quite strong to use. But yeah, not too much to talk about. Honestly, I would probably put her in A, probably lower A. Her offense is decent. She does have ways to get plus frames as well. Like this attack is a fake, so she has a regular attack, which is -5, which is of course punishable, and then she has this fake, which becomes +2. So her pressure is decent. It's not like the best, like the tippity top, but it is quite decent. And obviously her main gameplay is just get that armor. She just wants that armor so she can do more damage, you know, better pressure, like all that good stuff, right? Better movement. Yeah, very, very simple character. I would definitely put her low A, just because her button's really good and her damage is quite high, especially mid-screen for a character of her stature. So yeah, if you like defensive options and you like her aesthetic overall and her sort of win condition style with using the armor, I'll definitely pick her up.
この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。